On this episode, I see it, I want it, I make it. Maybe. Hello and welcome to or back to Miss Craftsalot's Lair. I am Barbie, your resident multi-crafter, and on this channel I try to stick to knitting, sewing, and crochet. If that is something that you are interested in, please consider subscribing. I am trying to get to 500 subscribers in time for my birthday, which we have about a couple weeks left here, so let's see how well that goes. For this week, I have another crochet challenge sort of video. So back in December, my daughter came to me and told me that she wanted to introduce me to a new show. Now, this particular show has been around for a little while. They did come out with a season 2. And so there I was in December watching both seasons in a matter of a few days. Part of that particular show is this character. So if you are not familiar with this little guy is Fat Nuggets, and he is on the TV show on Amazon Prime called Hazbin Hotel. I think he is just too darn cute, and I had to make myself one. Here is the color palette of the colors that I chose. I have Loops and Threads Soft Classic in light pink. I also have Loops and Threads Impeccable in lippy and in black. I also grabbed Loops and Threads Impeccable in white. I wasn't sure if I needed that for his eyes. Turned out I did not, so I just stuck with those 3 colors. And without further ado, let's get to me creating. To start off, I started off using the light pink in order to make the bean shape for this particular project. I did not exactly want to go into figuring out the sizing and such for a head and body, so I just figured the bean was the easiest way to go for this project. This is how far I've gotten so far. I'm going to stuff it real quick here and show you what I mean about the head and the rest of the body and such. So I'm going to get to that real quick. Okay, and so this is it about 3/4 of the way stuffed. I do have stitch markers. This was the first full row after I got done with the increases. Now for the increases, I did 8 rows or 8 rounds, typical circle. If you needed to know how to do the circle, I did a bit of a tutorial on an easy circle that seems more round and doesn't have the crease. You can find that here. It'll be in the end screen cards. I worked 8 increase rounds, then I worked a round even, a 9th increase round, a work even round, and then the 10th increase round. So I started with 6 stitches in the magic circle, and then I got to 60 stitches. That kind of got me this rounded, more shape that I kind of tend to like. Now I did work 8 rows. Those 8 rows are going to be considered the head rounds, and then I did another 18 rounds even so far. So I kind of like the length of this. I am going to work a decrease row and then I'm going to work an even row, and then I'm going to continue the decreased rows down to 6 stitches. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I think I'm gonna call it a night for tonight. So I worked on those decreased rounds and got it all stuffed, and this is what it looked like. The next morning I got started on his snout, and this is what I came up with. Next I worked on his legs. Of course, I could not just make legs, I also had to make sure that they were going to fit correctly. So here I am adjusting and making sure that my sizing is correct. The next parts to work on were his hearts. So he has a heart on each hip as well as a larger heart on his butt. So I got working on that. That left his ears next. So for his ears, I ended up increasing and decreasing in order to get a nice triangle shape that would be kind of floppy. Bad lighting in my living room. It's gonna happen. Anyway, so far, this is what I have of the piggy. Um, so I do have bits and bobs that are kind of pinned on, so then that way I can see what kind of space I have for the other parts. I have the pink dots for the top of his head and his left eye. Now I just have to work on the black almond shapes and then get started on his horns and his spikes. So that's what I'm going to be doing next. Back to the poor lighting, but all the pieces have been crocheted. Everything, well, most of everything is pin cushioned into Piggy's side, except for over here. Have not put. I do have those 3 black pieces crocheted. I just haven't pinned them to the piggy. Anyway, so I am going to sew this together, and yeah, I shall return with the reveal. And here he is, all done. I am so happy with how he turned out. Even got his little squiggly tail with this little pointy tail. I don't even know. At this point in time, description words have left the building. Things that I would do differently. For some reason, his left side is kind of up more than his right side. The way that I sewed on his bits is I did start off with his nose, his snoot, and then I worked on his legs, and then I worked on his face. In hindsight, probably work on his feet first, put his legs on, and then work on his face to kind of get everything centered. But I still think he is freaking adorable. It's gonna be hard. I kind of don't want to leave him down here in the lair in the background because I want to see him like all of the time. And summer is coming up, and there are just going to be days like this video where I wanted to enjoy the nice warm weather instead of being in my lair. So I'm not sure, but I think he turned out so well. His hearts came out well, and then of course I got his round little spot. Um, in the show, that spot it seems to kind of move around. I did not give him any of his belly spots that come up every now and then, just for the fact that the pictures I had did not show that. I am super super pleased with how he turned out, and yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this. And if you did, like I said, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you here, as well as all the likes, share, and comments and stuff. Um, until next time, bye.